that. So, okay, we are live. Woot, woot. And once I get that, then we are good to go.
Nice, nice, nice.
All right. Yay. All right. So I'm going to record just now in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, hey, hey.
I just wanna be free with my people. Don't you see it? I'm so crazy.
Hey.
I just wanna be free. I just wanna be free. I just wanna be free. Okay, okay. Another episode, Things I Wish I Knew About Money. I'm your co-host, or not co-host, I'm your host, Camille Smith. And I have a special guest here, Dominique Dunn. Oh my gosh. Where do we start? I think
Girl.
we connected on, what is it? BBPA? Is
Yes,
it there?
absolutely. 100%.
Yes. Yeah. See? I'm good.
That
I
was
got some
about
good news.
what? That was
Like
a
a
year.
year ago or
Yeah,
so.
it's been about a year.
Yes. And that's where Andre was doing his lovely presentations and stuff. And we just connected because you saw how we're just very, very
Girl.
in sync. Yes. In sync with personal finance. So it's an honor to have you here on the 52 episode. So it's been a year. Woo, hold on. I gotta do my little shout out. Why? Oh shit. Hey. So that some of y'all might see a typo. But it's okay. It's okay. It's a 52 week. I also wanted to do another shout out. We have over 1,000 views. So we're actually doing a giveaway. So I finally was able to post it. So if you want to be a winner for one of the giveaways, you have to subscribe to YouTube, which we are here now. Of course, you have to like, share, and all that good stuff. Also, you have to be on the Instagram as well. You gotta like, share, and all that good stuff. And then also be on your social media. So, and I have an honor for Dominique to be here for this is basically the 1 year anniversary. Things I wish I knew about money. So thank you for coming.
Yes. No, absolutely. Thank you. It's been great, just seeing your journey throughout the whole time, and I'm so grateful for social media nowadays because you can stay connected that way, right? It's just beautiful.
Absolutely.
So
yes. Yeah. Isn't it a blessing?
It is.
It's such a blessing because a lot of people are like, oh, I just feel so out of tune with everyone. I was like, no, you can still be connected with people. You just have to choose how you are connected with folks, right?
Absolutely.
It's an honor for having you here. And Dominique, let them know about who you are because it is Financial Literacy Month, and
yes!
I have been watching you. So I noticed that you've been promoting it as well. So why not just, have you on here and just talk about your journey and all that great stuff. So who is Dominique?
Well, that's a great question. I think it's an evolving question. It's not just who I am today. It's who and what am I trying to accomplish? It's a bigger question than just me. And I think that's why community and people and our journey is so important because it's evolving. It's evolving, right? Yeah.
That is very true, because like every day I'm learning something new. Or you're always seeing my statuses. You're like, what happened now? I was like, oh, I just got mashed up in the stock market, but it is what it is, right?
We live
Like,
life, right? It's every day is an experience, right?
exactly. Like, I have my mentor, he's always laughing at me. He's like, so did you learn your lesson? I'm like, I did learn my lesson. I just got to keep learning it sometimes,
Yeah,
So
so here
it's,
with you.
it's, yeah. So, let's see. So you're a financial coach, and you have, the thing that I like about you is that you have, like, you always mention your tribe,
Yeah.
and that you always have different videos to inspire folks. There are some days I'm like, oh, oh, you've teared me up. I gotta take a break. I gotta take a break, because especially we have the same experience with our mothers passing. So even when you notice that, you are able to send me this lovely, lovely card. And I appreciate it. I showed it to my grandma. She was like, you have to scan this for me. I want it. I was like, okay, grandma, bet. So I appreciate you. And
No
I
worries.
think it's really important to people that are close to you, like your tribe, your circle, the community. You should reach out to them time to time and show them how much you appreciate them. So I do appreciate you
No,
every day.
well, and that's just it. It's by us connecting that we get to help more people. It's by going back to the roots of who we are and what we were taught growing up about money.
Yes.
It shapes who we are today and where we're going. So, um, I think I got into the financial world, and math was never my thing, or finances was never my thing. I was a manager in retail, so
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I hated math growing up, but it's something that we need to know.
We do. We
Need to
do. We
understand.
absolutely do. Oh, shucks. So what does community or tribe mean to you then, when it
Um,
comes?
that's everything, right? And the first thing I saw was that you had the picture of your mom in the background, right? It's
Yes.
it's it's the family and the people that pour into you. I believe that we're here for a bigger purpose, a bigger question, and um, to me, I think we were here to touch people's lives, right? So
Yes.
it's it means everything. I always say that you can't get anywhere just by yourself. You always, no matter what you're doing, you need a tribe. You
True.
need people. You need
True.
community.
It's like what's the saying? That proverb, like, if you want to go, oh my gosh, please help me with this one. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you have to go with others, like build as a team. So I definitely get that concept. Because there's times when you have all the caps on, you're like burnt out. And instead of being burnt out, you want to be like, you want to reach out to more people as much as possible. So that's why I love collaborating, because we all can eat, and we all can, as long as we're all projecting the same message with like financial literacy, then why not? Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Because I mean, for you, it wasn't taught a lot in school, right? I mean, your whole concept of what I didn't know about money is amazing. So congratulations on having this platform, because it's
thank you.
like just the things I wish I would have known. It makes sense. Don't we all have
Exactly,
those?
right? I know it's like a long ass name, but I was like, but it is what it is. It's literally what everyone is thinking every step of the way, right? So like,
100%.
but what would be like some of your personal finance stories that you have, like you personally, like where did it start with you wanting to be in this atmosphere or this environment?
It started with my brother. So I mean, it goes back to family. I was happy being a manager in retail. I love people. I love connecting. I love, that whole aspect of people and loving on people and serving people in that sense. But
Yeah.
finance, like I said, wasn't my thing. My bigger goal was to be a Zumba teacher, and I want to have a wellness center because my mom struggled mentally with a lot of different things. Um,
Mm.
so it really just came to a point where my brother was like, Dominique, I see this in you. I see that you could, learn more about finance. And I was like, okay. And then I mean, I was at that time I was working 3 jobs. So I was
Yeah.
like,
Damn.
I think
Damn.
I need to
Heaven
learn
hurts there.
more about this. And this was not something I was like. I mean, I thought I was doing good.
Yeah.
I was investing a little bit, but there are things that if you don't know, if you weren't taught, you could have, issues.
Yes. 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 You
So
learn very quickly. Like if you're like, dang, had I known all these things like 10 years from before, life would be crazy. Right? But it is what it is. We learn every day. That's what I say. We learn every day. So it's okay to be like, okay, I have 3 jobs, but then we realize that we're working our ass off and not having our money work for us, right?
yes,
So
yes, yes, yes.
it's a catch 22. It's a catch 22. So your brother helped you push, and then
So then,
how?
and that's the thing. I started asking questions. Like we all have come to a conclusion where we need to analyze ourselves, ask those questions. Okay, well, why wasn't I taught this stuff? And I started to ask my mom, did you know anything about finances? Like, did you know anything about insurance or investing or, wills or anything? Nothing, nothing. She didn't really even have a lot for retirement. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, we got to catch up. We got some catch upping to do.
We got to do this. How are we gonna do this?
Yeah.
Right?
So then I started to take the time to learn myself. It wasn't my thing. It wasn't my
True.
thing.
Mhm.
But you grow into it. It's something that someone has to take charge in the family to kind of, and I'm not saying that no one didn't take charge. I'm just saying we have to be that person too, right? Everyone has to take
Yes.
charge of their own finances.
Everyone has to play a part
Exactly.
because if
And
you
unfortunately,
don't,
she ended up passing 2 years after, and she didn't
mm,
have a lot of that stuff still in place. So these things happen. It's
yeah.
yeah.
But at least she was making the steps, right? Because I could say one of my proud moments is watching my mom um, learn stocks, and she was like, "Oh, I wrote down a list of stocks that I want." I was like, "Okay." So actually, there's one stock that she researched, and I was like, "Are you sure?" She's like, "Yeah, I think it's gonna do well." Listen, that ish has gone up. Holy, and I'll even say it because I know because I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm going to get it, and it's Toy. It's a Canadian stock, and I'm actually really shocked because it's actually gone up for this year 65%. So I'm just looking at her like, really? So you were like doing the research. So it's like a proud moment. Like she actually like put in the effort to see certain things. And I'm like, dang, look at that. Right.
Yeah.
And even with stocks, it will still go up. So I'll get it. I am going to get it. That was actually on my like to-do list. It was like, okay, I have to get like that stock that she was looking at and like certain other ones. So as long as we see like our loved ones make the effort
Yeah.
of wanting to learn more about financial literacy and putting in the effort. That is a great feeling in itself, right?
Yeah.
um do you get any have you ever seen like your loved ones or your friends or family that something that you've mentioned that like they did that aha moment?
That's always the best part, right? Like it's not us coming to that conclusion. It's them coming to it. So, um, it's really cool to just understand and get them to envision where they're going, to
Mhm.
get them to actually take those steps. And like you said, it's action over everything, right? Taking that step.
Execution.
Execute.
It's all about action and executing on it. I've been hearing that word so many times this year, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I have to execute. Like everything I'm doing has to be executed, or it won't. I'm just going to be in the sideline, just watching. Like,
Yeah.
no.
And
All
then,
that
I mean,
good
my
stuff.
whole thing is that if you're being diversified, if you have a bunch of different baskets of stocks, then
Mhm.
you take advantage of the highs and the lows of everything, right?
Oh,
It's
you get
keeping engaged
when those lows
in
come,
the market. Yeah.
when those lows come, you're just like and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say? Okay, so what are your greatest moments in personal finance, and what's your biggest mistakes in personal finance?
I think it's getting emotional in those markets. It's understanding myself, understanding my background and my beliefs in everything. So
Yeah.
with me now, one example is I was like, okay, the market went down,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, and I should have had extra on the side to maybe put in. Like I for me, the stock market is something that people want to away from when they it's like it's a sale. So
Yes, like Black Friday. Black Friday soon come,
coming
and
up the corner, right?
the historically the market does go down in September, and it sucks when you know this information and you still like trigger a little bit early, but I mean, it is what it is. Um, you live and you learn. But it doesn't have to be just stocks. Like, what about like anything? Like, you did say that you had 3 jobs. I wouldn't say that's a mistake because that's just a learning experience. But is there anything else that was an obstacle in your life that you're like, dang, this taught me a lot?
I think it's mostly just having those coaches around you, right? If there were things that I wish that I knew, it was really taking the time to get the education. If I did that a lot sooner, I knew I would be better off, right? If I had coaches around me um, to help me find roadblocks, take that advice. No one can get anywhere by themselves. Um,
Exactly.
and even in most of my situations, it's just by having those little things. It's just by
Mm-hmm.
really getting that education, right? So,
Yeah. But the best education is experience, right? The
yeah,
best education I heard a saying the other day is lessons are either taught or bought. And so let me tell you, some of them I did not want to buy. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, at least you're able to learn from them. So what was like the best lesson you learned from your biggest mistake?
biggest mistake.
Or not, I shouldn't say biggest
Mostly
mistake.
plan ahead.
Okay.
I
Yes,
think planning
yes.
is such a big thing. Is people don't have a game plan. They just kind of go,
Yeah.
and just for example, this year now I have that. Christmas is coming around the corner. Before, a lot of people, I would just go and spend. No, but it's by you taking the time throughout the whole year to plan that.
Yeah.
If we're
Sinking
going
fund,
to,
I like to call it. I like to call it a sinking fund because you
yes,
know that there are certain holidays that you're going to celebrate, birthdays, anniversaries. Plan, like you just said, plan ahead, and then you'll be able to accomplish all of them. You won't have to stress in December. You're like, oh no, where am I going to get this money? Ah. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. Or you can find different streams of income so you'd be able to funnel that the holidays, right? And people
Absolutely.
love Black Friday.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because you really need to be careful because the way that things are marketed, right? Even
Hmm.
you can go into a spot and it could not be a sale, but
Exactly.
because it's marked as a sale or whatever that case may be of how people market. But, so it's very interesting to get that side of things and just understand and your own thresh point, right?
Yes. But when people see like $100 off, they're like, oh my gosh. But it's not, you're not really saving $100. You're still spending the money unless you budgeted, right? So then you're good. If you budgeted for this amount, then you're great.
Yeah.
But if you just wasn't mindful about it, then you're back in that rat race,
Yeah, like
right?
simple things like my cat passing away. I didn't expect that to happen, and we didn't have the funds for that, and so just something simple like that. Of okay, now I need a little extra buffer room, right? This is
Yeah.
what's gonna change and what I'm gonna do next year. And budgeting is that's a big thing for me. Like
Mhm.
you got to take the time to do that and understand where tell your money where to go, right? It's not
Yes. So how often do you
your
budget?
account and be like,
Or
oh, uh-oh.
so how often do you budget or look at your budget?
Uh, that depends on I it depends on how you get paid, right? So
Yes,
if you
yes,
get paid
yes.
every 2 weeks, some people may, do that budget every 2 weeks. If you get paid every week, or it just kind of depends. I like to, keep track of mine kind of daily, right? It
Yes.
does stop from, having things pile up at the end of the 2 weeks and be like, oh, right, oh, okay, where did that come
Mhm.
from?
So
you
true.
know?
Because there's days I look at the receipts, I'm like, why did I do this? Why did I decide to wait 2 weeks? And then I'm like trying to remember, I'm like, But I do look at my budget like on the regular, like Excel, Mint, all that good stuff. Like, y'all can't fool me.
And that's things I have.
Can't go past me.
I actually give out the budgeting books, right, so that they can keep.
Nice.
I'm a paper person, so not everyone's paper people, but I like having a system that works for me.
Yeah. Okay. I will not knock it because I don't know, I guess because I'm always on the computer, like it's just
Yeah,
easier for me to track. And I mean, some people will say that my writing is not the best. So when I'm just like, but I do have, you know what? I do have a book as well. I, but I, but if you look, I'm trying to get used to reading it or using it so I can stay organized. Because I know that is one thing I would have to work on as well. As much as I love budgeting, I think like time management skills is also important when it comes to like personal finance because shucks. Imagine, okay, so here's a story. Imagine you start work at 8 o'clock. You know it takes you 20 minutes to get to work, but you decide to wake up at like 7:20 and you know, yo, I only have 10 minutes to really get ready or I'm going to be screwed because anything can happen, right? So how do you have time to like catch a fresh, brush your teeth, make your breakfast and all that stuff if you only have 10 minutes? So you have to organize your time wisely. And yes,
time.
there was times I was late. Or there's times when you get there after 8 and you'd be like, dang, if I was more organized or um managed my time a little bit better, this wouldn't have happened. And then you also get flustered and you want to spend money getting a coffee or all that stuff. when you could have taken the time to, like, you know, pack a breakfast and all that good stuff, pack a lunch, have your coffee ready and all that good stuff. So
Time management is everything. It's also just like you said, being organized. Like even weekly, daily. Have that. I have to write everything before I go to bed, or
mm,
it just sets me
okay.
in ready states for the next day. So and Sunday nights are my, like, got to prep for the week. It's everything's done.
Yeah.
My
Okay.
girlfriend has an event every Sunday that she's like, okay, everyone, what's your game plan for the week? I'm grateful for
Send
accountability. Coaches are so important.
yes. Coaches, mentors, accountability partners, they're very beneficial.
Yes, yes.
They're very beneficial in our lives. Um yeah, I want to say I kind of have a routine, but like every week something changes. So I'm just like, but I don't know, maybe I'm not like, life feels boring if I have like a set routine. At least I know, like, okay, I need to get these things done throughout the week. As long as these things are done within the week, I'm good. And I have like a little checklist and stuff, but I do need a to-do list as well, just to remember, keep my mind, straight and all that good stuff.
That we work with. I get
Mhm.
it.
And things, we like to juggle a lot of things, and
Yeah.
it sometimes we have to learn to so I say I have a lot of caps, right? But it's okay to give the cap to someone else because they kind of do it better. Right? They kind of do it better. So I'd rather give it to someone else so they would be like, all right, this part, I'm not the best. So here's that cap. And they'll be able to work out things, right? So that's also important. Um,
Yeah, I'm so grateful for my team. Teamwork is everything.
Dreamer.
And
So
like I said, I call them my tribe. Like, I'm so thankful for
yes,
my tribe.
nice. I'm glad you have a tribe. I'm trying to get a tribe too, or just like, well, no, I do have it. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have said that because I do. I call them the money team, the money team. So we usually do like the stock market challenge with the youths, or right now we're doing stuff with Centennial, and we're just trying to get comfortable with talking about money.
Yeah.
And trust me, I send like daily updates of things, and we
Mm,
just talk about money, and it's so refreshing because, like, I'm pretty sure you feel like this, like you talk to other friends and they're just talking about like, oh, you see what happened on Gossip Girl, da, 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 da. I'm like, I don't care about that. But then you like, which nothing's wrong, and that's the only thing I could think of. I couldn't think of any other show. Actually, I'm lying because I watched You and Squid Game and all that stuff, but that's like it's a short little thing that I do. I don't do it weekly, but like I have like conversations that like talk about like self-development, learning new things, and learning
growth.
about the stocks, and just, yeah, growth. Like we're not getting any younger, right?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
getting any younger, so we might as well fuel our mind and body with like good stuff instead
I
of
read
like,
the five. So I'm all about relationships, right? So I've read the five love language. I'm not sure if you've ever read that, or yeah,
I read
yeah,
it, but
yeah.
I what do I say without
You know
getting
which one you are?
yes, okay, so I know which ones I am. I wrote it down, but it's in my old phone. But I know I love like quality time and words of affirmation. Words of affirmation is like Like, I need it. I need you to say I am great. Just so I'm like, I feel good. And I think so that's what I like to receive. And then I like to give like time, acts of service.
Yes.
And it's weird because I love words of affirmation, but depending on who it is, I feel weird giving word of affirmation because I don't want it to sound like corny because I'm a corny person.
Yeah. No, and that's why I think we get each other, because I'm deep conversations. I'm very grateful when my husband turns off the TV and has a conversation. Like
Nice.
it means a lot to me, right? So
Exactly. You're like, phew, like
I can see why different relationships didn't necessarily work, even with family. Like I gift a lot, as you can see. I'm a gifter.
Yes. Get yo.
I've learned to, and I that's why I see why so many relationships do work, is because sometimes you can be a little bit of everything, and it's
yes.
just.
Yes. And what are yours? What are your love languages?
Acts of service.
Acts of service, of course.
With my family, acts of service.
Yes.
And again, that deep conversation, like spending quality time. So.
Okay. Yeah, it just softens you up and stuff, right? And this doesn't even have to be like with like a relationship. It can be also with friends as well. Like
exactly, 100%.
Because you understand, like there's times when like a friend would be upset. They're like, "Oh, you don't spend time." I'm like, I understand what's happening. I have backed off what I normally do. So I will see if I'm able to fulfill that quality time. Or if anything, I'm because of, all the crazy stuff that has been happening, I'm okay with virtually spending time with people. Because at the same time, like, look how we're on Zoom, right? I'm still giving you my undivided attention and we're good. And especially like if we're like, I like to watch, was it Teleparty at times. So I'll have my laptop with like Netflix watching something, and like sometimes they don't know, but I guess I'm the cat's out the bag. I'll be working while I'm like having time, but I'm able to multitask a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, did you see that? And then still be able to do like certain works. As long as it's work that I don't have to like fully be in it, I'm able to multitask and, still provide quality time and stuff. So I'm trying to, cater to everyone. Right?
And I know my girlfriend thinks exactly the same way. It's just they need that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, what other books have you been reading so far? Because I know I showed you the book I'm reading, and I'm at like the juicy part, and I'm like,
yes, girl.
Hold on, let me show it.
Tell me where you're at. Tell me where you're at, because I've read it, and again, I think accountability partners are amazing. I have a group of ladies. Yes, a group of ladies that we do like morning book club. So
oh my gosh, what time? Like what time?
8 o'clock.
Sorry. And are you a lady that likes to wake up, or sorry, I should say lady, sorry. Are you, there are certain individuals that love to wake up at like 4 to 6 to get things done? Or are you more, I think I know this answer, or you're like a middle bit of both, a night owl, and be able to maximize on your stuff during the nighttime. So are you a morning person or a night owl? I feel like I know the answer.
I'm generally a morning person, but that's why I like to have those two space. I mean, because I used to work 3 jobs, I called it a power routine, so I could do it at any point, right? I don't do
Okay.
it a morning routine or a night routine, but there are certain, I like to have my schedule done at night, take a sneak peek of that before, in the morning, or I like to do,
Mhm.
affirmations in the morning and visualize, and then, pack out what I need to do. So it's
Nice.
really just, I like to have those two kind of routines, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. No. I hear you because I'm like, dang, she is going in right now. I'm like, okay, I see. And then you also do Zumba, right? You have
Oh
like
yes,
your little Zumba
yes.
mix.
And
So
look,
you're
and
pumped and ready.
it's all there's that emotional component to it, and I think finances goes back to being emotional, your beliefs and all that extra stuff. But
Yes.
it's all in the
Yeah.
wellness aspect. I say, if your finances isn't right, and I've seen it in the past with my mom. If your finances isn't right, you're
Mhm.
not well. It's that mental capacity around it as well.
Mentally, you're just like stressed. You're actually stressed. And I see it a lot in the community. Like, we've gone through so much survival and stress in the last decades that, like, when money does come into our hand, like, what do you do? Like, a
Yeah.
lot of people, like, just don't know what to do with it. And I could tell you, like, when I get, like, a certain amount coming, I'm like, shoot, this is going straight into my investing, straight into my savings. Like, I finally am at that stage where I'm like, yo, this money I'm getting is going to make more money, right? Because it only makes sense. Yes, you should put, like, I always tell people, have like a treat yourself fund so you can actually stay sane, because obviously if you're
Balance.
paying debt, investing, all that stuff, you're gonna be like, oh, so what fun can I have? So yeah, you
Well,
can
remember a
have.
few weeks back, we just posted the same. We basically posted the same thing. We're like, okay, 10% of these.
Right. It was like back to back. I was like, oh shucks. And I liked yours because I think so. I had 5 buckets and you have about 6, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, do you remember the 6?
There's the Millionaire Mind book. Again, I just and again, you don't just read a book, you implement a book. So
Yes, I
I've
know.
read a
That's
lot of
why
books.
I've been taking my time with this
I've seen
book.
you taking some pictures. Where are you at? Where are you at?
Ah, I am at
Last takeaway.
chapter 5.2. It's time to thrive. Storm-proof returns and unrivaled results. I hope I said that right. I didn't. Whatever. But yeah, it's really dope. And it's crazy because, like, the one example that I give folks these days is the S&P 500. Just so, like, if you don't understand anything, just get the S&P 500. But then it showed me, they're like, are you sure you want to do that? Because in the last 4 years, I was like, shucks. But at the same time, at least people are getting their feet wet and learning, like, how to diversify their portfolio and just getting an idea. And then when they're actually able to, like, want to get actual stocks, then they'll know, or like different type of investments. I
Yeah.
always think, like, keep it simple, give them something that is very simple and they're able to absorb, and then hopefully they'll do it. Right. So
Yeah.
that's what I've been preaching in a sense. And let's see.
See, and for me, it's all about keeping it in the market, right? And again, that emotional component of people kind of jump in the market, and I personally don't really jump in the market. I'm just more consistent, right?
Mhm.
I believe in the long term vision of everything.
Yep.
So for me, it's being diversified. It's being disciplined and staying in the market and taking advantage of those lows and those highs, with diversification there.
Of course. and that good old
And again,
dollar.
I'm like excited for when it like for when it dips a little bit too, so I can put more money. You know, I'm
Yeah.
that's something that I've learned that I'm grateful that I learned is that I you know can do
Ooh, and
that.
I was gonna ask you,
I'm
what
like
are
kind of excited
three
because I know
so,
it dips a little bit during the year. You know, there's always that little
yes,
bounce
the
back, like
correction,
you said. So
the pullbacks, the correction, as scary as it is when you see red, because last week was very scary. And I was like, you know what? It's cool. You're whooping my ass today, but I'm going to get you back. Best believe. But I'm trying to also, another thing that I've been saying is reprogramming myself to do dollar cost average, to diversify, and I just have to keep reminding myself, because sometimes I'm like, look at this play. I want this one. No. Stick to the plan. We have a game plan. Stick to it.
plan, the plan is everything. That's again the I talk about having not having a coach, not
Mm-hmm.
having a game plan, and
Yep.
not having financial education. Those three things, if
Killer.
I would have known sooner, I think I would have been. That's I'm like, woo, you
So
know.
those are
I'm
your three
very
things.
thankful. Yeah,
So you wish you had a coach earlier.
yeah.
You wished you had
Game plan.
planned earlier, and then also, oh man, help me. I'm turning old. I'm
That
almost
education, girl.
diverse. I'm getting old. Wait, what's the third one? I try to
Education. Like
education.
it's people a lot of us will just give our money to somebody and not really take the time to get to know what's going on inside of you know whether it's policies, whether it's investing, whether it's take the time to understand what's going on behind those scenes as well, because that's very important. That's my big crusade at the end of the day is get the education yourself and really understand what's going on behind the scenes.
Exactly. Actually, you're so right. My mentor told me, he reminded me, he's like, do you have a checklist for your daily monitoring? I was like, huh? Daily checklist? What wait, which ones? And he told me, like, what, I think out of the 5, I have been doing 2.5. So I'm passing. But I have to do better. So I have been doing better a little bit, trying to get in the mindset of waking up earlier, seeing how the market is. But even like the night before, I chart like where I want to look for plays and stuff, because I do swing trading as well.
Gotcha.
It's an addiction. So I'm like, okay, if it gets in here, this is where I want it at, and I'm good. Watch it ride up. I finally understand why when the RSI is over 70, it does a pullback. Okay, I understand it. I get it. We're going to execute this ish.
Girl, I don't know how you do that.
it's
I don't do
it's
any of that. That takes that. How much time does that take you to go over that stuff?
well, I'm more of I like to jump in to the I like to jump in the deep end and be like, oh, at some time, and then I'm learning. But most times I'm doing well. However, I did practice before. Before I actually went in with my own money, I practiced with like an account. So that's why, like our last 2 episodes ago with Kurt, we were doing a practice. We have a practice account so people know, don't jump in without knowing stuff. You have to actually study this. So I would say like an hour before I go to bed, I look at it, and then like kind of like the first thing I do when I wake up is I review it, because the market is open during the night, and I'm like, dang, look at all this money I missed, but it's all good. And I just try to see, like, everything I've learned, I try to chart and just double check, and I'm like, okay, so this is good. This is good. If it goes there, then that's a good run and all that stuff. I love it. I like it. I like it. And all that good stuff.
It's your cup of tea, right? I remember I did that for a bit too. I think you were talking about options and stuff like that. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was it. I read that big red book, technical and
Oh, the Intelligent Investor, that one. I had it. I haven't finished it. Someone borrowed it, so I had to get that back. But I love audiobooks as well because I'm more of because of everything that I'm doing. I kind of just need like something in the background listening, and then I'll be like, "Oh, wait, hold up,
I've read
what?"
like 10. It's interesting because I'm like it's I'm like I've read 10 books in the last week, but it's only been like audiobook. I'm like awesome. Again, I
Right?
understand
If you're like,
that I need to take
I
from it
mean,
and put it into action.
yes,
That's I love how like that's the at the end of the day that's the thing. But
and that's why you have your book, right? Because you were
yes,
able.
they're so important. My husband would
Yes,
say,
because you
you know,
like
you got
take it
pen and
in and
paper
you're just like,
everywhere.
you're like, okay, I saw that, boom, and all that good stuff. So it's actually good that you have a book. I do. This book is, I have this one and I have another one, and they both are with me, but I want to keep one like personal and one like business. I think this one's the business one because it like instructions, like, if there's any time that I'm like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Oh, hold on. Okay, yes, yes, yes. I have that because I have it in my notes, my book, and all that stuff. I told
Yeah,
you I'm
yeah.
getting old.
Age is
But
only a number, my girl.
I know, but the when it gets cold and stuff, the knees and start like buckling, and they're like, oh, remember what you said, and all that good stuff.
Zuma,
And
Zuma.
true, true. That's a good one to do. And what
Well, I like that you take these
advice?
walks, these outdoor walks.
What when
You
do I
take
take them?
outdoor walks.
I do. So I've been trying to be active as much as possible. Like before, I was a big gym head. Like legit. Like what, summertime? Someone saw me. They're like, "Real, what happened to your definition or in your arms?" I'm like, "Yo, life." Like I didn't want to get into it. I'm like, life happened, but I have been doing push-ups and doing my planks and all that stuff just to get back in it because I do miss it. I do miss it. So I figured if I at least walk and also read at the same time, because that's the best time I can actually read, I'm doing okay.
That's
But I
exactly.
don't know, once it does that, I'll be like, it's okay. I don't have to walk today. But I'm hoping I can push through because I do have some nice warm winter jackets. So I'm just like, I might push through and just get gloves to tolerate what's gonna happen. But I'm dreading that day to come and all that good stuff. But what are some advices you would like to give like young folks or old folks, especially the old folks? I feel like they're stuck in their ways. So what advice would you give them? Remember when you had your auntie that wouldn't want to listen to you? I'm
Every,
joking. I'm joking.
I, it's really with staying the course. I think I usually deal a lot with the next generation. It's nice to see the progression, right?
Hmm.
But staying that course, understanding how much you're gonna need for retirement. It's understanding and seeing how much you need to go. Like I talk again about having that game plan. If you want to retire at this age, how much are you going to need at that age? I call it your fin number, right? How
Yep,
much do you need, and how long is that going to take you? Will that take you till age
that's true.
80? Will that take you till age, what age is that going to take you? What does your lifestyle look like? You know, is one going to stay home? Is one going to continue to go out? Are you going to, what travel do you want to do during that time? And making sure that your estate is good, that you have, a will, that you have, certain investments that pass on to your kids without,
Yes.
that probate fee. So, yeah.
Oh, I learned that. I learned that all. Honestly, I'm glad you mentioned that, because when it comes to like estate planning, you don't really understand the grasp of it until you have to deal with it. And I can tell you this, like, thank heavens my mom was prepared with like a will and everything. Like everything was like, mostly down pat. And I don't care what anyone says. Yes, it's important to have a will. But if you're an emotional individual like myself, it is very emotional thinking about a will. Cause like I was starting mine. I was like, I don't know. Like I'm like getting emotional on the person that I'm putting in that role of what to do. I'm like, I don't know if I want them to make this big decision and all that stuff, right? So, but it has
Having
to be done.
conversations, 100%.
It has to be done.
Yeah.
And I did have conversations. It's crazy. I had conversations like that with my mom. So it's actually crazy when you think about it. Like you actually have these conversations, and then all of a sudden things change. But estate planning is very important, because no matter what, there's two things we can guarantee in this life: is taxes and death. So you might as well just have a plan on how to minimize the stress and the grieving that your loved ones are dealing with, and also having a set plan for them and stuff. Oh no, is it Simon? Sorry if I say it wrong, I apologize. I'm seeing messages. Someone's talking about their dog, that his dog Jerome died so early in a fishing accident. I'm so sorry. I've never heard a story like that. Like, my gosh.
Yeah,
I am so
I'm
sorry, sir.
sorry. That's harsh.
Right? I hope
Yeah.
they're able to deal with that story. Wow. I could not imagine my dog. Like my dog Maxwell, he's a smart bugger, but he has attitude. But I don't think he'll
My
be
dog's name was Max growing up.
really.
Yeah.
Why? Wowzers. Let's see. And what other advice? So, wills, estate planning, state focusing, like sticking to the plan is key.
Yeah.
And generational wealth.
And
There's always
inheritance
going to be time.
is something. I always say, if your parents left you $1,000,000, how different would your life look? You know. So
Mm-hmm.
it's. Do you want to leave that on to your kids, or I don't have kids yet. I don't know if I don't know. I see it. It's there. I have it. Again, it's
Yeah.
gonna happen. But it's about giving back to the next people that are coming after you. I want to pour into the next kids, because it's so they're the next kings and
And
queens out
there's
there. So
so much things happening.
it's very, very important, and I'm starting to get really involved. I love that you're doing stuff for the youth, because um, you know
The
there's so
future.
much that you weren't taught in school, even just mentally. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I learned the importance of having a mental routine, um,
Yes.
it meant everything to me. Like I believe in a higher power. That if I didn't have that foundation for myself, I don't know. So
Yeah.
um, everyone's different. But I do thank you for your time and for letting me come on here and to have this
Absolutely.
conversation.
It was lovely. Like, this is what it's about, like bringing people on, especially during Financial Literacy Month, to talk about like their tribe, their community, and all that good stuff, and learning from each other, because everyone has a different story on their path of personal finance. And I love to hear the stories because they're so inspiring. Like, I have a different story than others, and you have a different story than me and others. So it's needed because it's not black and white. There's always a gray space that we can learn new stuff in personal finance, and just, it's just never ending growing, right? So I do appreciate you coming, and I'm gonna, sign off with Andre's song, because he's always here no matter what. I think he's doing something big right now. So, big up Andre and all that good stuff. So, wait. And how can people reach you, Dominique? How can people reach you? Because I'm going to put it in the chat and then I'll post it. That's okay. How can people get hold of you?
Well, I mean, they can find me on LinkedIn. They can Google my name, Dominique Dunn. Anything about me will come up as soon as you Google my name.
Nice. Awesome. So LinkedIn, Instagram,
Facebook.
you can find her, Facebook. If you want to do some Zumba, if you want to just get inspired and all that good stuff, she's your lady. All right?
Absolutely.
So on that note, folks.
Hey.